Have you ever considered that every wrinkle tells a story? Not just a story of aging, but a story of living, truly living, through joy and heartbreak, triumph and defeat. This is the story of Imogen in a very old house filled with even older secrets. Imogen had always considered herself a practical woman, an accountant by trade. Numbers were her language, logic her guide. Emotion, she thought, was best kept in its neatly labeled box. At 38, she valued spreadsheets over sunsets, spreadsheets reflecting her perfectly organized life. This life revolved around her accounting firm in the city, her apartment, and her meticulously planned weekends. Then her Aunt Seraphina died. She'd only met her once 10 years ago, a wispy, eccentric woman who lived in a rambling Victorian house in a small coastal town called Seabrook. To Imogen's surprise, Seraphina left everything to her. The house was a disaster. Paint peeled like sunburned skin, the garden was a wilderness of overgrown roses, and the air inside smelled of damp and forgotten dreams. Imogen saw it only as a financial problem, a drain of time she did not have. She decided to sell it quickly and efficiently before it swallowed her whole. She called a local real estate agent, a man with a practiced smile and eyes that saw only dollar signs, and he agreed to meet her at the property the next day. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in bruise-colored hues, Imogen explored the house. Each room was filled with the ghosts of Seraphina's life. Stacks of dusty books, half-finished paintings, seashells scattered across every surface. In the attic, she found a trunk filled with old letters, tied together with faded ribbons. They were from a man named Jasper, and they spoke of love, loss, and a shared dream of opening an art gallery in Seabrook. As Imogen read, she began to piece together a story of a woman she barely knew, a woman who lived a life filled with passion and heartbreak. The next morning, the real estate agent arrived, clutching his clipboard. "This place needs a lot of work," he said, his nose wrinkling. "We'll have to price it low, real low." Imogen nodded, but her mind was elsewhere, still lost in the letters and Seraphina's unspoken dreams. As the agent droned on about square footage and comparable properties, Imogen wandered into the garden. The roses, despite their neglect, were blooming, their petals a riot of color. She bent down and inhaled their fragrance, a sweet, melancholic scent that reminded her of something she couldn't quite grasp. That afternoon, Imogen found an old box in the basement, hidden behind a stack of cobweb-draped canvases. Inside was a collection of photographs, faded and creased. One caught her eye, a snapshot of Seraphina, young and vibrant, standing next to a handsome man with kind eyes, Jasper. They were laughing, their faces lit by the golden sun. On the back of the photo, in elegant script, was written Seabrook, 1958, the year our dreams began. That night, Imogen couldn't sleep. The images of Seraphina and Jasper haunted her. She kept thinking about the letters that spoke of their shared dream of opening an art gallery, a dream that never came to fruition. She thought about Seraphina spending her life alone in this house, surrounded by memories of what could have been. In the moonlight filtering through the dusty attic windows, a new thought crystallized. What if she didn't sell the house? What if she honored Seraphina's dream? The next day, she went to the local library and dug up old newspapers. She searched for information about Seraphina and Jasper. She discovered that Jasper had died young, a tragic accident on the docks in Seabrook. Seraphina, heartbroken, had retreated into the house, never to pursue her dream. Imogen felt a pang of sadness for the aunt she never knew, for the lost possibilities, for the weight of unspoken grief. As she walked back to the house, she noticed a small, empty storefront on Main Street, right in the heart of Seabrook. It was perfect. Imogen had an idea. She contacted the real estate agent and told him she was taking the house off the market. He sputtered in protest. But Imogen hung up. She enrolled in an online course on art gallery management and began cleaning out the house, room by room. The work was hard. But with each cobweb she brushed away, with each layer of peeling paint she scraped off, she felt a sense of purpose she had never known before. She hired a local contractor, a grizzled old man named Finn, to help her with the renovations. Finn had known Seraphina, and he told Imogen stories about her kindness, her talent, her quiet resilience. He told her how much she had loved Seabrook and how deeply she had mourned Jasper's passing. With Finn's help, the house began to transform. The garden, once a wilderness, became a vibrant tapestry of color. The peeling paint was replaced with fresh coats of cheerful hues. The interior was cleaned and redecorated, creating a space that was both welcoming and inspiring. Months passed. Imogen had completely immersed herself into this project. She sold her apartment in the city. She quit her job and withdrew most of her savings. Her old colleagues thought she was mad. They couldn't understand why a practical, successful accountant would abandon her career for a dilapidated house and a dead woman's dream. But Imogen didn't care. She was finally living, truly living for the first time in her life. Then came the biggest setback. Finn, while repairing the roof over the library area, discovered extensive termite damage. The repairs were going to cost more than she had. Her savings dried up, and she felt the weight of her decision crushing her. Doubt crept in. Had she been foolish? Had she romanticized Seraphina's life, her project of remembrance? That evening, Imogen sat in the garden, surrounded by the blooming roses, and wept. The salty scent of the sea filled the air, and the cries of the gulls echoed in the distance. Just as she decided to give up and call the real estate agent again, she noticed a small, intricately carved wooden box tucked beneath one of the rose bushes. It was hidden, almost as if someone had meant to bury it discreetly some decades before. Inside the box, she found a collection of small watercolors signed by Seraphina. They were exquisite, capturing the beauty of Seabrook in vibrant detail. There was also a letter, addressed to Imogen, dated the year she was born. In shaky handwriting, Seraphina wrote, "My dearest Imogen, if you are reading this, it means I'm gone. I always knew that you, my brother's daughter, had a spark of artistry in you, even when your father pushed you toward numbers. Keep pursuing your passions, Imogen. Don't let anyone dim your light. And if you ever find yourself in need, sell these paintings. They are my legacy and my love for you." Imogen gasped. She had forgotten that her father and Seraphina had been close. Her father never spoke of Seraphina after Jasper's death. They were estranged. Seraphina provided for Imogen's college fund secretly. The money had helped launch her finance career. The next morning, Imogen took the watercolors to an art appraiser in a neighboring town. The appraiser was stunned. "These are remarkable," she said. "Seraphina was a true talent. These could fetch a very good price, especially locally." Imogen sold them, not without a pang of sadness, but with a sense of purpose. The money enabled her to complete the house renovations and, more importantly, fund the opening of the art gallery. She named it Seraphina's Gallery, a tribute to her aunt's memory. She filled it with local art, showcasing the talent of the Seabrook community. The opening night was a huge success. The gallery was packed with people, old and young, all admiring the art, all sharing stories about Seraphina. Imogen stood in the corner, watching, listening, and she felt a sense of belonging she had never known before. An elderly woman approached her, her eyes twinkling. "Seraphina would have loved this," she said. "She always believed in Seabrook, in its people, in its art." Imogen smiled. "I think she's here," she said, her voice thick with emotion. Over the years, Seraphina's gallery became a thriving hub of artistic expression in Seabrook. Imogen discovered a new passion, a new purpose in life. She learned that there was more to life than spreadsheets and logic, that emotion had its place, that dreams, both her aunt's and her own, could come true even later in life. She eventually married Finn, and they spent many happy hours in the rose garden and helping Seabrook thrive. And every time she looked at the blooming roses, she'd remember.
Not just Seraphina,
but also the unexpected path that led her to this moment, that every wrinkle truly does tells a story.
But it's not just the story of aging,
but also of a life reclaimed, a story waiting just under the surface, a story about the secrets that blossom only when we dare to dig deep into the soil of our past, a story about how even the most practical heart can learn to bloom if given a chance, and that dreams like roses can bloom even in the most unexpected of places, even in the most hardened of hearts, and that sometimes the greatest legacy we can leave is not a fortune saved, but a dream fulfilled. So the question is, what dream lies dormant in your heart waiting for its season to bloom?